There is one thing every human being is capable of that costs nothing, requires no title, and needs no permission from the world. It has quietly ended arguments before they became wars. It has softened families after years of silence. It has helped strangers recognize each other beneath language, culture, and fear. Most people do it by accident. Almost nobody does it as a sacred practice. And yet, long before our age of satellites, screens, and machines, human beings were already trying to name it. Across deserts, forests, islands, mountains, river valleys, and night skies, ancient peoples looked at the same earth and came to a similar knowing. Life is not separate. The human being is not outside the world. The tree, the river, the animal, the ancestor, the unborn child, the breath, the star, all belong to one living field of relationship. What if this was never just mythology? What if it was memory? A memory of something humanity has always carried, waiting to be awakened again. The hidden power is listening, but not ordinary listening. Not simply waiting for another person to stop speaking. Not collecting words so we can answer more quickly. The deeper kind of listening is the doorway into another world. When you truly listen, you place your own story gently to the side. You become still enough to feel the shape of another life. You begin to sense that every person is not an isolated object, but a whole universe of memory, longing, pain, hope, and becoming. This is why listening is spiritual without needing to belong to any religion. To listen deeply is to practice unity in real time. It is the moment when separation becomes less convincing. The moment when the wall between me and you becomes thinner. The moment when consciousness remembers relationship. There is a strange and beautiful pattern in human history. People separated by oceans, mountains, and centuries often arrived at a shared insight. Life is woven together. Many indigenous elders have spoken of the earth not as a possession, but as a relative. Ancient philosophers imagined the cosmos as an ordered whole, where the human soul was not separate from the larger harmony. Farmers watched the moon, the soil, the rain, and the seed, and learned that survival depended on listening to rhythms older than language. They did not all use the same words. They did not share the same ceremonies. They did not see the world through one culture or one doctrine. But beneath the differences, a seed was present, the seed of interconnection, a sense that human beings are not here to dominate life, but to tend relationship with it, to listen to the land, to listen to the seasons, to listen to the silence between things. Modern life often teaches the opposite, teaches speed, teaches extraction. It teaches that the world is made of objects, and that people are separate minds moving through empty space. But the older memory never disappeared. It remained in stories, in songs, in hands planting food, in elders speaking softly to children, in the feeling we get when we stand beneath a sky full of stars and suddenly remember that we are not above nature. We are nature becoming aware of itself. Today, science speaks in a different language. It does not ask us to believe blindly. It asks us to observe, measure, question, test, and remain honest about what we do not yet know. And still, some of its most fascinating frontiers point toward relationship. Earth system science shows us a planet of interdependent cycles. Atmosphere, ocean, forest, soil, life, water, and breath influencing one another in vast feedback loops. The Gaia hypothesis, developed by James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis, proposed that Earth's living and non-living parts form a complex interacting system, an idea that remains debated, but continues to invite a powerful question. What if life does not merely live on Earth, but participates in Earth's balance? Quantum biology, another emerging field, studies how quantum effects may play roles in living processes such as photosynthesis, sensing, and biological energy transfer. This does not prove that consciousness is quantum. It does not prove that the Earth thinks like a human mind, but it does invite humility. It reminds us that life is more subtle than our old categories, that the living world is not a pile of separate pieces, that mystery is not the enemy of knowledge. Sometimes mystery is the door through which deeper knowledge enters. If humanity is evolving, Perhaps evolution is not only biological. Perhaps it is also relational. A species becomes more conscious when it learns to hear what it once ignored. A child learns this when an adult kneels down and says, "I want to understand." A family learns it when someone stops defending the old wound and finally asks, "What did that feel like for you?" A community learns it when it listens not only to its strongest voices, but also to the quiet ones at the edge. This is how consciousness grows, not only through technology, not only through intelligence, not only through reaching farther into space, but through the sacred discipline of making room. To truly listen to another human being is to enter the universe through a single life. It is to understand that behind every belief is a story, behind every reaction is a wound or a hope, and behind every stranger is a vast interior sky. When we listen this way, we are no longer just exchanging information. We are participating in human evolution. There is a reason images of Earth from space changed the human imagination. From far away, there are no borders, no arguments visible from orbit, no nation large enough to separate itself from the atmosphere. Only one blue planet, breathing in darkness, wrapped in cloud, carrying every name, every grief, every seed, every ocean, every newborn cry. To see Earth this way is to receive a teaching without words. We belong to one home, and deep listening is how that truth becomes more than an image. It becomes a practice. When you listen to the person you disagree with, you are practicing planetary consciousness. When you listen to the land beneath your feet, you are practicing planetary consciousness. When you listen to your own inner life without running away from it, you are practicing planetary consciousness. The future of humanity may depend not only on what we build, but on what we are finally willing to hear. The Earth has been speaking through storms, through forests, through disappearing species, through the loneliness of modern life, and through the quiet longing in the human heart. The question is not whether there is a message. The question is whether we are still enough to receive it. Seeds are small. They do not look powerful. But every forest begins with something almost invisible. A seed carries a future inside it. It does not force the world to change. It simply enters the soil and waits for the right conditions. Understanding is like that. When you listen deeply, you plant a seed in the field between you and another life. You may not see it grow that day. You may never know what it becomes. But something has been offered to the future. A seed of trust. A seed of remembrance, a seed of planetary consciousness, a seed from the ether. So today, before the world becomes too loud, choose one moment of sacred listening. Listen to a person. Listen to the earth. Listen to the quiet wisdom beneath your own thoughts. Not to control, not to answer, not to win. Listen to remember. What seed of understanding will you plant today? Subscribe and share this video as a seed. Every person who watches it is one more person choosing understanding over division.